Sparkle and Joy, this kit from Citrus Twist for December documenting is just gorgeous, everyone. I was very inspired at first by the pattern papers. And as I'm prepping for my December album, I like to do techniques that are time consuming up front. So what I'm going to do is I'm using this We Are Memory Keepers button maker. I'm fairly new to it, but then once I got into the groove and knew what I was doing, how much pressure to apply and that sort of thing, I'm addicted to this machine. I just want to make all kinds of buttons and flares. And so it comes with, I got the kit, it comes with the three different sizes, small, medium, and large. And I'm going to use all three sizes. Now, as you can see right here, I'm adding some of the stamping with the Sparkle and Joy stamp set. And I also added a little bit of stamping to one of the die cut labels and adhered that to the circle to create a button. Now, you can see it from the picture, but I will say adding that extra layer makes the film, there's a little clear film you'll see here in a little bit, that I apply over this to give the button that finished look, like it's a flare that you purchased from a shop. And it does create a little bit extra bulk to be able to secure that into place, but I'm still going to use that. What I intend on doing with these buttons is I don't want to create too much bulk inside my pages. I am going to add these to the cover of my album. So what you basically do is the three different sizes come with the die cut. So you die cut the size circle, and what's nice is you can get that framed exactly where you want it, and then you create your button like I just did. So, and then I'm going to continue adding and creating a few more. Here's the one that I stamped onto the label and added it to it. And so that is going to take the button inside the top part, and then I'm going to attach, or I'm going to put the back in here. I do want to have a back, and what I did is I just take the pin out so that way I can use either glue or foam adhesive to attach my flare to the front cover of my album. And what I like about doing this is it gives, with that clear film that you add on top, it looks like something that I would have bought. And I'm making it from the pattern papers, and the pattern papers are just gorgeous. They're going to go so well with the peacock color album that I chose for my December album. It really, really pops up against that. So I'm going to create a few more here. I'm going to create a few of the smaller sizes and one of the medium size, and then I'm going to do a large one as well. The large one I experimented with. I did quite a few of them, and I'm going to decide as I go which one that I like. But I did add some stamping to one of them. I wanted that sentiment that says Sparkle and Joy that is part of the stamp set. So I wanted to add that to it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to add that to the cover yet or not. So here you can see I just finished die cutting that circle, and then here I am putting on the attachments to actually make the button. This really is easy to use. As far as the die cutting, what I have found is I have to get that die cut right underneath the circle or the platform that it's going to, that when you press down, that it's going to be an even coverage. I find that I sometimes have to move that die cut just a little bit to get a clean cut. And then once you do that, when you add these pieces to make the actual button, you line up. You can see I'm turning dials there. There's the top and the bottom, and you match up A's together for the first part of the button, and then when you attach the back, you line up the B's. We Are Memory Keepers has a video that shows you this, and it's really, really easy. It really just takes the practice of getting used to it, and it's such a polished look to your pattern papers or any kind of, decorating that you want to do for your flare. So here is the large button. I really love this pattern paper. This one's going to be really pretty with the peacock album that I've selected, and this one has the stamp, and I'm adding a lot of pressure to this one. I find that the bigger the surface is, the more that I really need to press down on it. Now I'm going to attach the back, move everything to B, and then I'm going to finish up the button here. So there are all my buttons. You can see I have the one with the label that says Joy. I have that beautiful multicolored pattern paper and the medium size button. And then there's my two options of the larger buttons. Okay, now I want to move on to the cards that are part of the kit. And I want to add some fun details to them. Again, techniques that would take too much time that I would not want to be doing during the month of December. This is a cut file that's part of the available cut files for the kit or complement the kit. This is the holly leaves. I decided to use this part as a stencil. So I'm stenciled on gray onto this, and I want it to be a little bit more bolder. So now I'm going to move on to a little bit of green, which I do kind of like because it adds a little bit of a layered and a depth look to the leaves. And that's perfect. I want it just like that. It just adds a nice little shadow effect of the holly leaves onto that card. And now I'm going to use the actual cut that I did using the pattern paper from the kit. I'm going to attach those there. I'm actually going to do a little bit of black machine stitching to secure those. And then I do think I want to add a little die, this little bow die cut from the kit. So I'm just going to foam adhere that just like that. And then that tag is good to go. I can add more to it. There's some pretty gold stickers from the kit. There's more die cuts. I could even add a label with some journaling or even a small photo. But I like it like that, and it is something that I can apply to my album at the right time. It's nice to have on hand. So there's the finished card for right now. And now I'm going to move on to another technique on one of the cards. This one is a bell. This one's part of the Christmas Icons, I believe is what it's called. And I'm using just regular makeup brushes. These are not the expensive brand that is out there. This is just regular makeup brushes that I bought off of Amazon. So I'm applying gray to this. My initial idea was to have a silver bell, but it doesn't really look too good with the red stripes. So instead of deciding not to use that, I keep going and I decide to try this mousse from Nuvo. And it's dried out a little bit. I just need to add a little bit of water to it. And I'm going to spread that over that and see if that helps it a little bit. And what ends up happening is those little delicate leaves in the bell get a little bit too wet. And the color of the mousse, I tried to bring in the other color of the mousse, which is kind of a magenta, to see if it would help. But it did not have the look that I really, really wanted. I find with techniques like this that you're not going to necessarily get the initial look that you want, but it's good to start because this was a good creative way to come up with another idea that stemmed from this that I actually did like. But I wanted to show you this to show you that it's okay to like play like this and try it. You may not like it. I may not be able to use that card again, but I can still use the back of the card. But it's going to show you that there is something that came out good from doing this technique that I'll be able to definitely use a couple of ways onto another card. So I'm just going to have to pick some of those little leaves. They got a little too wet and some of them stuck there. Now this is where I decided to take that stencil again, get a different color card, and angle that little stencil and then just apply a light little smear of this metallic mousse over it. Now you could use a modeling paste and add some color as well and you get the same effect. And doing this, I love the look of it. It's just perfect. My leaves are a little messed up, a little bit too wet, and some of them came off, but I get enough of that impression, and you'll see in the video and just a little bit of the picture that it really, really came out good. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to add a little star die cut to it is what I decided to add to it. And a perfect little detail. The tone on tone with the yellows. I would not have known how pretty that would have come out if I had not tried it on the striped red and white card. For this next card, I am using another of the cut files as a stencil. So I'm going to use a pretty green that'll complement the kit, and I'm going to stencil through this cut file. Now I'm not going to use the positive of these cut files on this one. As I did this card, I decided to leave it as is and come back to it. But the ideas I had initially were to maybe add some stamping and again some of the other embellishments. For now, I'm going to move on to this next card. And I really liked this cut file as well. I want to apply the green to it, and I want to make sure I get the image of the star and the inside detail of that poinsettia. I definitely want that ornamental star look. Since this card says fa la la, I want it to be about decorating. So I am going to stencil this pretty heavily, and I actually needed to come back with a darker green to add a little bit more pop, since that background is so detailed and so colorful, and it just gives it a little bit more depth, and you can see the stenciling effect, or in this case this is a mask effect because I'm using the positive image of this cut file. So here is the darker green, and I'm just going to really emphasize around that star, that whole star. Like I said, I just want it to look like an actual ornament or ornamental star onto this card. December albums are always a time to really get creative and try techniques, or try old techniques but just do a different spin on them like this. And this is really the time to do it, and it's part of the reason why I love documenting December. So I am actually going to use that star with the green. I'm going to attach it to the card that I did previous to this one with the little branches. I love that look. I added a little bit of stickers to the Fa La La card, and now I have a nice little jump start to creating my December album come December. Thanks so much for watching.